St. Louis Acura is excited to announce the opening of our newly remodeled service lounge. We sell pre-owned vehicles of all makes and models and take pride in servicing what we sell. We offer free pickup and delivery service and a complimentary car wash and vacuum with every service. We also have a full-service reconditioning shop on site that can repair dents, bumpers, and wheels. As the nation's only 29-time Acura Precision Team winner for customer satisfaction, we work every day to make St. Louis Acura better than ever for you.
And welcome back in here to Weekend Joe, driven by Mungenast St. Louis Acura and Mungenast Alton Toyota right here on ClaibsOnline.com. Going to get away a little bit from all of the Cardinal talk because it's football season. And I know that I have been wanting to get this guy on for the past few weeks now, but he's back on the road. He's doing stand-up. He is the biggest name in comedy. He is Costaki Economopoulos, friend of the show. What's going on, Costaki? How are you?
I'm great, man. It's good to see you, Joe. Yeah, it was after a year and a half of keeping my head down. It was nice to be out there amongst the people again, telling some jokes.
I know we talked. I know we talked a little bit about this last year because you along with a lot of comedians had to figure out how to do it, how to make it work. And that's not just something you can do over a Zoom with no reaction in place. So
Right.
what was kind of the way that comedy, that stand-up comedy went last year?
Well, it broke down individually. Every comic had a different answer to this problem. You know, suddenly the thing that we do for a living and for a self-definition just disappeared for a year. So it was pretty tough. My friend Tom Simmons sort of had the best timing in the world and got a writing job for basically that year. That worked out pretty nicely for him. He wrote for the Pat show, Ms. Pat show. And, you know, different comics had different things. You know, some guys were sort of still on the road anyway and hanging in there with that universe. Some guys completely disappeared and worked on projects. You know, I kind of had a mix. I sort of was doing a lot of radio. I did a little more radio than I was doing prior. And I did a lot of homework for when the world reopened. I have a new hour that I'm doing, which I didn't have a year ago. So I worked on that the whole time. And I did a couple of Zoom shows just to have deadlines and have a whole setup. And I also launched a football comedy brand called All Pro Lines. So I kind of focused on the other parts of it, you know, sort of waiting to reemerge when spring came kind of thing, you know?
And we're gonna hit it at the end of the show too. But where can people find some of your stuff?
Yeah, my pitch is go to @AllProLines on your favorite social media platform: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We got a lot of crummy news in the world, you know. It's like just follow us, and then you know you'll see some bad news. You'll see a political fight. You'll see a picture of your aunt's pie, and then there'll be a football joke, and it will improve your life in some tiny marginal way. So come join us at All Pro Lines.
And that's you know years. That's how you and I got to know each other over the years. Was the football jokes that
Right.
you were going around telling at the Super Bowl, and we've stayed in touch year after year
That's
since
right.
then. With this year, I mean, it was the first time in 10 years that you and I didn't make it to a Super Bowl together.
That's
So
right. That's
that,
right.
That sucked. It really, really did. And I imagine you and I are both going to change that this year with it being in your backyard in LA.
I was just going to say, am I going to see you? I'm going to go. It's right here. It's handy for me.
I've already booked a flight and I've already booked a rental car. So
Oh my goodness. That's a yes.
It's all the other details that I'll figure out along the way. But hey, I have an extra week to do that this year.
That's awesome. Well, what two teams are we going to be telling jokes about that week? What's your guess?
You know what? You tell me, because you know what? Hey, you're the one. You got two NFL teams in your backyard now. We got nothing here in St. Louis. They ripped that one away from us 5 years ago.
Well, I'm a Falcons fan. What do I know about football? I don't know. I was talking to a friend of mine about this the other day. Like, I feel like there's like 6 teams that could be the representative of the AFC. There's some really good teams over there, and that's going to be a fun battle to watch. I think the Browns are for real, and the Bills, and the Chiefs, and maybe the Chargers, and the Ravens, and you know, there's a lot of good teams over there. And on the other side, I feel like there's a little bit of Alabama-ish inevitability about Tom Brady's team down there in Tampa. I don't like that, but man, they look good. I hope the Rams embarrass them. That's what I'm rooting for this week. We'll see.
At a certain point, when you come up with material on certain players, on certain teams, have you found yourself running out of stuff when it comes to Tom Brady?
It's funny. I just don't know. I have this ongoing running gag on one of the shows where they always like say something nice about him just to aggravate me because I'm just done with the guy. But he's so good and he's actually charming and likable now that he's in Florida and it's sunny and he's just happier to be out from Belichick's thumb. And I get it. I just want a new story. I don't know how to stop this guy. We just have to pray that Antonio Brown punches the coach in the face and Tom slips on an avocado peel and falls down the stairs. I don't know how they don't win everything again. It's inconceivable that every time since we've been alive in NFL free agency, a team wins a Super Bowl, everyone gets this extra shine on them, and then they go cash in and leave the team, right? And somehow this year, everybody stayed. It's star-studded, and they're all there again. It just seems, I don't know how you beat that team. I don't know. We'll see.
So you mentioned the avocado, and I know Tom Brady's big into all that. So I found this out a few weeks ago about Rob Gronkowski's brother. First of all, have you seen the quarterback from Kentucky, how he eats a banana?
No, but I'm already got a yucky image in my head.
He bites it with the peel still on, and he will eat so the quarterback of Kentucky eats a banana with the peel still on. So the first week of college football season, all of the sideline reporters and all the pregame hosts were doing that. That was like the big thing to do. And I was telling somebody about that, and
Totally
they told me apparently one of Rob Gronkowski's brothers eats avocados that way.
No.
Yes. And so truth be told, I have tried the banana thing, and it's not great, but it's not disgusting.
It's doable?
It's
not
doable.
Too fibrous to even deal with in your mouth?
I took one bite. I took one bite of it, and I did it that way. It would take a good amount of money for me to try that with an avocado.
I feel like an avocado skin is even more like definitely. I mean, even like the first human would go, well, this is not the food part. The food's inside, right? Like you just peel that and go, well, I'm not going to eat that part. That seems preposterous.
I feel like when you take it off, it feels like a paper bag. So I think that's what it would taste like. So
when you first said that about the banana eating, I was like, this guy have some kind of special nutritional secrets? Or is just some yokel in Kentucky just never learned how to eat a banana right?
Right. I mean, at some point, yeah, there has to be some disconnect along the way with that. So you have the Tom Brady jokes. For a while this year, you were giving back Tim Tebow jokes.
Briefly. That's right. Briefly. Yeah. Well, he's going to come back. That's how Tim Tebow does. I like Tim Tebow. It's funny. Nobody made more fun of him. Like when I go back, whenever I look at like Facebook memories, invariably a Tim Tebow joke pops up from like 7, 8, 9 years ago. It's weird how many Tebow jokes I've written. But I like the guy. I mean, all these other knuckleheads are beating up their girlfriends and getting DUIs and, have got unlicensed firearms in their car. Tim Tebow is like building a hospital in the Philippines. Like he's a legit good guy. I mean, that's one that I kind of went the other way from Tom Brady, where I've kind of come around on. This is like a genuine article. He's like a wholesome dude, It's still plenty of material, but it's fun. He's a good dude. Like it was easier to make fun of Johnny Manziel because he was such an ass, It's like he kind of deserved to be made fun of, but Tebow's the opposite. So it's not as much fun as it used to be. I've kind of come around on him a little bit.
So who is like the top target this year? Who is getting the most shrapnel?
Well, the other thing that I've noticed when I went back, when I was writing some memes, I was trying to find like one great joke about each team to I was doing a meme for every team. And when I was going back through the file, it was like there was about a 50-1 ratio on the Falcons jokes and all of the other teams. Because I'm a Falcons fan, and they were so difficult to root for last year. I mean, the crazy squib kick with the Cowboys and Todd Gurley falling into the end zone when he shouldn't have, and all those times they were up by 20 something, and they're just not good at football. That's what it makes them hard to root for. A friend of mine has a big Falcons logo on his front door, and he was so embarrassed. He covered it with a sign that says "Sex offender lives here," just to get away from. The Falcons defense they're like a Walmart greeter. They're like, come on in, welcome. Thank you for being here. Make yourself at home. The Afghan army put up a better fight than the Falcons defense. They're not good. So I hope that's not what happens again this year, that I have to write another, 400 Falcons jokes, but the early signs are not good.
And then on the flip side for that, I would imagine as you went through all those memories, you probably had a lot of Browns material from the years past too, making fun of them, which you can't do. Like, you have to throw that out now too.
I love that the Browns are good. I've been rooting for a good Browns team forever. I've said, like, every year the past decade, I want a good Browns team and a good Jaguars team. So we're halfway there. This other team, not as good, but yeah, a good Browns team. I think the Browns had a shot at being in the Super Bowl last year. They were pretty close. And if you look at them on paper, both sides of the ball, they're good, man. They could really be the team this year. We'll see. I mean, it's early. It's so early, but they got pieces. They could be it.
And then, I mean, when you go through it, yeah, the Chiefs have been there for several years now. And it does seem, as you mentioned, the Ravens, the Browns. I think one team you left out, the Bills, on that.
The Bills are great.
Yeah, they're great, but their fans they are nuts. You talk about like Raiders fans and being crazy. Like, they just dress up and go to the games, where the Bills fans keep taking it up another level to where it was tables, and now they're lighting these tables on fire. It's pure WWE there.
It's funny to me this week, I guess it was about 10 days ago now, the Bills announced the fans who attend the games will have to be vaccinated. I was like, so the fans have to be vaccinated, but not the slot receivers with man buns? There's no rule for those guys? Like, it's ridiculous the fans have to be.
We can leave the man bun part out of that, Costaki.
Yours looks good.
It's a lot longer since we've last seen each other now. So
yours looks totally fine. At least you're not shaving around the back. Like, I don't know. Not a fan, that particular character. And based on the table diving activities, I want to see the Bills fans get tetanus shots too, and maybe a psych evaluation. They seem more like less like a Pfizer shot crowd, more like a Jell-O shot crowd. That's all I'm saying.
And speaking of vaccines, I saw this earlier too, that Carson Wentz of the Colts, and I know you're big in Indianapolis with the Bob and Tom show.
That's right.
That he wanted to do his own research before getting the vaccine, but he sprained his ankle and said that he was going to do everything possible. They were just going to throw the kitchen sink at it to make sure that he could play on his ankle. So for that, he has zero concern over what he's doing as far as getting back on the field for that. But everything else, vaccine-wise, he needs to do his own research on that.
I know, right? That's a real disconnect for me on all that. This is a generalization, but these are guys who generally are doing every possible thing, some of which they should never do, to stay on the field, to be competitive. And then this comes along and they're like, this is where I draw the line. I don't know if I could do. This has been the whole globe thinks it's a good idea. This one, I don't know. I'm gonna go get some steroids from my uncle at his cleaners. That seems really strange to me. And another thing that's funny to me, the Bills fans have chosen to live in the worst climate in America, and they root for the most heartbreaking team in NFL history, and they're jumping off trucks onto flaming tables. But now we expect them to be buttoned up on the vaccine front? How are we going to get enough fans in this place that are going to jump through this hoop? It's an interesting situation developing. It's a little under the radar right now, but I think this is going to be a big story in a week. There's going to be some clips of fans losing their minds at the gates, or there's going to be some crazy thing.
Absolutely. And with that being said, we've mentioned you're in Los Angeles. Have you had a chance to see the new SoFi Stadium from afar yet?
From afar, yes. In fact, I take a picture of it almost every time I land at LAX. It goes right by it. And I'm deaf in one ear, so I always sit, and I like the window seat, so I'm almost always on that side. And it was kind of fun to watch it when it was being built. I was on the road a lot during that phase, and every time I landed, I would take another picture, and it was slowly coming together. I would love to see that place, and I guess we'll see it in February, right? There'll be some media thing there, right?
I would imagine that there will, but with the current lawsuit against the Rams going on in St. Louis, I'm hoping they let me in at just being a media member from this town. I'm
just on the grounds that they screwed you over in the past. That
right.
That seems fair. Yeah,
we don't want him in here snooping around this place.
So what's the vibe about the Rams? Do people like the Rams? Have they disowned the Rams?
It's mostly a disowning of the entire NFL, and this hasn't been that big of a national story, but there's a lawsuit that's coming forth with the way that they left. And
no, they tried to settle and they failed, so it's coming.
They have tried settling. They have tried getting it thrown out. They have tried getting it moved out of the state of Missouri. They have every appeal that they have tried keeps ending. And the most recent appeal was now you're going to get the books open. You're going to have a discovery process on Stan Kroenke, on Jerry Jones, on many of these other owners. And it's going to open up. I mean, you know how these things work. It's going to be more than just what happened with St. Louis. It's going to be the books kind of opening up on all of the NFL. And it's not what they want. They don't want lawyers and fans to see what some of the conversations and some of the books have said. And I think it's slowly starting to pick up momentum on the national media front. And it's something that here we've been paying very close attention to, that hopefully it starts to pick up a lot more.
But just from like a gritty, like you're a grizzled football fan guy and you live in St. Louis and you've been rooting for the Rams. Now they leave. Are you done watching professional football? Do you shift to the Chiefs? Are you
I shift
a Colts
to fantasy.
fan?
It's whoever's on I sit and I watch Red Zone every week, and I watch and I pay attention for who's on my fantasy team.
Yeah,
that's
right.
I have no alliance, no fandom to any team. I enjoy watching the Bills. That's been it. I do not care who wins. I don't gamble on games, so I don't care who wins and loses. I just want my fantasy guys to perform.
Right. I love it. And you know what? As a Falcons fan, I'm kind of in the same boat. I had on week one, I've got one of the radio guys I call is a big Eagles fan, and he texted me after the Eagles completely dismantled the Falcons. And he goes, "Hey, I thought the Eagles looked pretty good. When did the Falcons play?" And my answer was, well, my first answer was, "Hey, that's funny. You should try doing something like that on the air." But my second answer was, I watched NFL Red Zone, so I never even saw the Falcons. I wasn't tortured by the Falcons at all. And I've caught some guff from a couple of my other DJ buddies, and they think it's terrible that I would watch Red Zone when my team is on. I should watch just that game. And I'm like, my team's terrible. It's heartbreaking. Yeah. I don't want to watch them. I'll get, if there's something relevant happening, I'll see it here, and I can enjoy football without just watching 3.5 hours of Falcon heartbreak every Sunday. What good is that? Who wants that?
Absolutely. Costaki, I really thank you for the time that you've given us. Again, where can people find all of your stuff each and every week?
Home base is allprolines.com. That has the links to all the places. We're doing a Pick'em League. There's a podcast. You can follow us on social media. There's a lot of ways to engage. And if you want to be on social media and write jokes, we sometimes do fill in the blank jokes, and you can write tags to any jokes, and I occasionally use them on the air. Actually, that's the thing that surprised me most about this project is the quality of the participation. The quantity has been good too, but that didn't surprise me as much as the quality. I expected a bunch of knuckleheaded comments, and some of these comments are really good. There's good writing going on. So anyway, that's the full pitch. Come join us in whatever capacity you like at All Pro Lines.
And you're back on the road doing stand-up. Any shows planned in the Midwest?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always in the Midwest. You're a little further west than where I usually land. But yeah, I'm doing something out your way. I was just looking to see if I could fly into St. Louis for it. I'm talking about a gig in Quincy, Illinois, which is kind of
Okay.
in your neck of the woods. That hasn't come together completely yet, but I'm doing Vincennes, Indiana. That's a pretty short drive if you're a hardcore lunatic who wants an excuse to go on the road. In first quarter, I'm doing Cape Girardeau.
Okay.
That's your state.
Yes.
Again, that's far from St. Louis, but that's at least the same state.
I've gone to Cape for a concert before. I've gone there. I went there a few years ago for a Luke Combs concert. So
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so
I've never been there. It's one of the last little corners of North America that I have not yet visited, so it'll be good to see the place.
Yeah, so good. Hey, let me know. Keep me updated. Either Quincy or Cape, because Quincy is not that far of a drive either. And
Right.
It goes. It's right past where I went to college, actually, in Macomb, Illinois. So
Cool.
Yeah. So, and I know that's right around Galesburg. I know you've done Galesburg before.
I've
Illinois.
done Galesburg, lots of Illinois. I mean, I'm basically wherever there's a Bob and Tom footprint, I go tell jokes eventually.
So you probably would have done the Orpheum in Galesburg, right?
I think I did do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right.
So that doesn't. Yeah, that would probably be where they would have put you for a Bob and Tom show there in Galesburg.
Thanks for guessing a nice place, by the way.
We will keep in touch, Costaki. Hopefully, I have a chance to see you before I see you in February.
That sounds great, man. Either way, let's go explore SoFi together and check out this fancy pants stadium eventually.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.